but again, you have certain restrictions because of how the graphs are set up. So if you have an inverse and a regular trig function, if they're matchy-matchy and one's an inverse, if the inverse sign's on the outside, 9 times out of 10, this value is going to be your answer as long as it fits these stipulations. So if this value is between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, that's your answer. If inverse sign's on the inside, again, 9 times out of 10, this will be your answer as long as it fits this stipulation. And it has them for cosine and tangent. You don't have to memorize these. These are on your sheet right there. You just have to know how to use them, okay? So again, when I see this, let's say I was not allowed to use this on a test. If this was like in my college class and I'm like, oh, I can't use anything. If these are matchy-matchy and one's an inverse, 9 times out of 10, whatever that value is, pi over 8, will be my answer, okay? So if I forgot all this stuff, I would just always write that value down. And 90% of the time I'd get it right. It's just the other 10% of the time when it doesn't fit these specific restrictions, you're supposed to make it fit. So we're gonna use the restrictions, listed above, super important. Inverse signs on the outside. If inverse sign is on the outside, this will be the answer as long as I'm between, must be between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So as long as this value is between negative half a pi and half a pi, it's my answer. Well, this is an eighth of a pi. An eighth of a pi is clearly between a negative a half and a positive a half, so that is my answer. That's it, pi over 8, I'm done. Here, sine, inverse sign's on the inside, I'm following this stipulation. This will be the answer as long as it's between negative 1 and 1. Must be between negative 1 and 1. Well, 0.8 is definitely between negative 1 and 1. So that is 100% my answer. Super. Do you see what I mean? Like most of the time, it fits. Inverse signs on the outside again. I have that written down right here, so I'm going to just use it. Inverse signs on the outside, I have to be between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. Uh-oh, this seems like a problem. All right, let's map this out. Here's pi over 2, here's negative pi over 2. I have to be between here or here. This is pi. If this is out of 8, remember, we have to see where it belongs. That would be 8 pi out of 8. Let's see, if this is out of 8, I can multiply by 4. This would be 4 pi over 8. So if I'm at 5 pi, I'm just a little bit more than 4 pi. I am technically here. I'm right here. That would be 5 pi out of 8, which means if this is 5 pi and a whole half a circle is 8 pi, this would be 3 pi out of 8. So 3 pi over 8 is my reference angle. This reference angle always goes back to quadrant 1. Here, maybe I'll do it on a separate picture. So this is just what the diagram looks like. 3 pi over 8 is here. And then if I'm supposed to be in quadrant 4, the answer is going to be negative 3 pi over 8. Only one of them is going to be the correct answer. Is it the positive 3 pi over 8 or the negative 3 pi over 8? The deciding factor is we're talking about sine. And because of all-star trig class, since I am here, sine has to be positive, and I'm here because that's where my picture ended in quadrant 2. Since sine has to be positive, this is going to be my answer, not that one. Because again, down here, sine would be negative. Everything's positive in quadrant 1, so my answer is 3 pi over 8. So see here, 5 pi over 8 was not the answer because it didn't fit the requirements. I figured out where it was. I determined it should be a positive value overall. Therefore, between these two, it should end up in quadrant 1, 3 pi over 8. Inverse cosine and then cosine. So inverse cosine's on the outside. If I look up top, it says this must be between 0 and pi. A 1/12 of a pi is between 0 and pi, so it is. So the answer is pi over 12. Again, 90% of the time, usually if these are matchy-matchy and one's an inverse, that will be your answer. Inverse cosine on the inside, if you look up top, this has to be between negative 1 and 1. Negative 0.4, that'd be like negative 40 cents. That's definitely between negative $1 and $1. So again, it is, so that is just the answer. And I believe that is it for this section of notes.